Today in this video, we're tackling localization. So basically, it's the feature that lets your app speak more than one language. Simple, right? In theory, yes, but there are multiple ways to do this, using third-party libraries, writing your own custom logic, or sticking to the official way. For this one, I'll just do the official way because I actually never done this in Flutter before. But before we write a single line of code, look at this. It's been months since I touched this code base. It's not just code anymore, it's an archaeological site now. That means one thing: upgrade time. Step 1, we have to upgrade the Flutter SDK. And then, moving into step 2, the Android Studio and the SDK with it. Help Android Studio. The privacy policy. Definitely no. Just give me that update dialog. Perfect. Then I upgrade the package. I was hoping for a smooth ride. I was wrong. We got errors everywhere. I'm thinking it's a codegen issue, so let's hit the classic build runner and pray. Of course, something is fundamentally broken. After a quick dive into the docs, it turns out a minor upgrade that requires a massive file replace, not sure if I want to call it minor, across the whole project. So changing this variable to public, saving it, and the router is now back online. One down, one to go. The error count is dropping, but this one won't budge. The sodium package, specifically the sodium sumo, apparently it's depleted. It was an abstraction layer I used for everything, and now it wants me to migrate for the main sodium namespace. In the migration guide, it says that swap the package and change the import. I did that, but the error is still there. Typical. Wait, I see it. The callback parameter changed. It used to pass sodium into itself, which was redundant anyway, so they just remove it, and I need to remove it as well. And this secure key parameter is default empty too, so let's remove it as well. But wait, there's more. We're still not in the clear because localout decided it want to join the chaos too. This package had some signature change, and by some, I mean quite a lot. The option setup has been tucked away from its own class, everything been moved outside. Not sure why they did it, but you just follow along anyway. As for the authentication message, they actually simplified things. I just had to strip out the invalid keys that were hanging around from the old version. A few deletes here, a little reconstructing there, and there is finally for the localout change. And the hits keeps coming. Now it's Riverpod. This is a major version bump, and looking at the changelog, yeah, there's a lot here I don't even recognize yet. But surprisingly, for a major update, the damage to my existing code was actually pretty light. The main task was swapping out my custom mutation logic. Interestingly, Riverpod actually has built-in mutation now. But since they're still labeled as experimental, I'm going to play it safe. I'll use them for future features, but I'm definitely not refactoring the entire foundation today. Alright, we fought the SDK, encryption, and survived the Riverpod migration. Now for the moment of the truth, the launch. This is that awkward silence where you just stare at the terminal praying for the build to succeed. And yes, we are live. The app is actually running, no visible crash or red screens, just runs. With the 5-minute upgrade finished, we can actually now start implementing localization. Alright, let's stick to the script and follow the official guide. Step 1, adding this to package. Once that's done, we're wiring the delegates and supported locals straight into the material app router. Now for the format, this package uses ARB, basically a JSON-like file for your translation. But to actually use them, we got to configure the generation first. Just toss the generate flag into your pub spec, whip up this config file, and we should be ready. Now let's craft our very first ARB. I'll pick the specific text for the demo, structure the keys, and add the Indonesian equivalent. Now we hit the generation command and wait. Wait a minute, are you kidding me? It says you can just auto-inject the generated delegates and locals. Why wouldn't you tell me that first? A beautiful guide indeed. With that sort, we swap our hard-coded strings for application of context shenanigans. Let's give it a go. And yes, we got the initial balance because YAML was set to English before, while the rest remains Indonesian. But to be safe, let's check the Indonesian version as well. And voila, it is playing saldo awal perfectly. With things settled, let's wire up the global localization state using Riverpod and persisted locally too. This way we can finally detach the language app choice from the phone system settings, because sometimes you just want that extra bit of control. Once the provider is finished, I'm plugging it straight into the main app component for a full global update. After all, a language swap should hit the entire text tree instantly, not just a few stray widgets. Next, let's wire up the app language setting card within the settings page. We're keeping the design simple. It'll be a clean tile card with a drop-down that allows users to switch between languages. Enjoy the time-lapse. Time to sprinkle some localization into this new component. But wait, before we get ahead of ourselves, I realized the provider I set up was a total mismatch. It needs to be a mutable notifier so we can actually push that change local update. So a quick swap and a few lines of logic, we're ready to wire it to the dropdown. Well, looks like we hit a snag. The language isn't switching and there isn't a single error inside. Time to go hunting. I'm resorting to the classic, the glorious print statement. And wow, the app local is coming back as null? That shouldn't even be on the table. Even the storage check is blank, which means the local never even hit the local store. I'll add a lock to the notifier and yep, it's not even being triggered. Of course, I completely forgot to attach the on-change listener to the dropdown.
This is fine.
My bad. Now everything should be back on track, right? Until I tried switching to system and the app just gave up on mine. Hive is throwing a fit because I tried to save an assertion error to the database. Why would I do that?
I don't know.
Well, at first, I thought it was just a null versus empty string mismatch with the system enum. But the rabbit hole goes deeper.
2,000 years later.
The real culprit is a total chain reaction. See, the code variable was defaulting to an empty string. Because it was a null, the app happily saved that blank string into storage.
A few moments later.
Fast forward to the next cycle, the app reads that empty string and tries to create a local instance out of, well, nothing.
Wait, that's illegal.
Because we treat null as the system setting, the null check was always false, causing an assertion error when trying to build a local from that empty string. The fix, ironically, is simple. We just make the code variable nullable, let it stay null when it's supposed to, now we are back to business. Except no. Turns out that still wasn't even the root cause.
Okay.
I was passing the raw error object directly into the map. Hive doesn't speak raw exception, so a quick serialization to a string and boom, problem solved. For a bit of extra polish, I'm adding an error snackback to give the user a heads up if the switch fails. Next up, we're fetching the initial data and listening for updates. Now, whenever that line just flips, the widgets trigger a clean rebuild. Plus, if an error should pops up, the selection just resets itself automatically. Elegant, right? Now for the home stretch, we're taking our localization logic and rolling it out across the entire app. Every screen, every widget, no label is safe. Enjoy the time-lapse. We're almost at the finish line, but we hit a snag. Everything is translated except for the pre-filled data. Since we saved those categories as raw text in the database, they're stuck in whatever language was active when they were created. It's like a permanent ink smudge on a digital screen. To fix this, we have options. I could add a system indicator column to the database, clean, but it adds storage overhead. Or I could just ignore it since the user can edit the data anyway. Or another way is we go with the fun route, a template system. How? Well, instead of saving food, we save category food template like this. Then during the output phase, we detect the template and swap it for the real translation. It saves storage space in exchange for a tiny bit of processing power when the screen loads. To keep the code clean, I'm wrapping this logic into a string extension. So instead of calling some long, clunky resolve method, I can just type resolve template on any string and let the extension do the heavy lifting. Finally, we need UI support. I built a wrapper for the text field that detects keys and initializes them with the right translation. I even add a template picker model so we aren't hiding the magic from the user anymore. It even handles auto-formatting as you type. And just like that, the app is fully localized. No more ghost string or hard-coded leftovers. That is how you handle Flutter localization from the ground up. Thanks for sticking through the upgrades, the crash, and the templates. Catch you in the next one.